Today on Judge Faith, a slammin' deal or a dirty double cross?
He wanted to renege the entire deal and wanted his money back, and I says there's no such thing because our contract says no refunds.
When we returned back to get the tires and the rims, he was gone.
You mean to tell me the most important thing you were supposed to do, put your signature on it, you forgot? That's a problem.
And later, the judge makes a call.
I'm calling you about a case. I'm gonna tell you what my grandmother used to tell me, God don't like ugly.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Antoine Carpenter says he purchased 11 used vehicles after finding the defendant's auto body shop listed on Craigslist, but realized too late it was a scam. He's suing for the return of his money. Defendant Eric Aaron says he owes nothing because the plaintiff signed a contract that clearly states no refunds. He's countersuing for storage fees and labor.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Carpenter versus Aaron.
Thank you, Juan. Antoine Carpenter?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant, Eric Aaron?
Yes.
For $3,050, the return of money you say you paid him to purchase some vehicles from his business?
Yes.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $4,500 for storage and labor?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter, you saw an ad on Craigslist, and it was from the defendant and his son. They were selling a truck. And you responded to the ad, and that's how this entire ordeal got started?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you tell me what happened?
Me and my ex-wife, we was searching Craigslist for a pickup truck, and I seen an ad that caught my attention because the price was reasonable or whatever. I called, talked to him, and Ray told me to come to Savage, Minnesota to meet him. As I arrived there, it was this guy and some guy named Danny that works for him. He was kind of busy with a couple customers, so I was walking around talking to Danny. I was telling Danny that I scrap metal, which I recycle like appliances and metal and stuff like that.
Okay.
So Danny like, we getting rid of everything in this shop because we're about to turn this into a showroom floor. So I'm like, cool, are you serious? Are you about to get rid of it? He's like,
Danny
man.
was one of the employees?
He was a shop helper, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I told Danny that we'll be back. So we took over at the U-Haul. So we returned back a couple of hours later, and the doors was locked. So I'm looking around, I didn't see no one.
Well, did you look at the truck that you originally went there to view?
Yes, but he said that he had to find the keys and he had to clean some trash out the back of the truck.
Okay, and how much was he selling the truck for?
I can't remember the actual price, man.
$1,475.
Okay, and so, but you go there and then you see that he has all of this metal and you think, okay, I can make money scrapping, and Danny tells you that this is stuff that you can have.
Yes.
But you didn't have that conversation with him?
No.
Okay, so you come back with the U-Haul.
Yes.
Do you take and remove scraps from his business?
No, the defendant appears, right, so he's like, oh, what are you doing with this U-Haul truck? I'm like, Danny told me I could recycle all the metal and stuff like that out of there. And he's like, oh, we haven't conducted any business yet. Come back tomorrow. And also, I got cars that I can wholesale to you.
Your Honor, Danny told him that you have to talk to my boss about all of this stuff.
Okay.
So they did return next day, him and his wife. We made the deal on 11 cars.
The deal was he was going to give you how much money for what?
The total amount he paid us was $3,050.
And what was he giving you that money for?
For 11 cars and a whole bunch of tires and rims.
And also scrap metal, is that what it is?
Yeah, and the
Okay.
scrap metal.
What's the deal with the cars? Why are you selling 11 cars for $3,000?
Because they're parts cars. They're either crashed or they got a blown engine or a transmission is blown.
Your Honor, he didn't tell me all that.
Hold on a second, sir.
Yeah, it says it right on the agreement that these are scrap cars. They're not.
Oh, you have a written agreement?
Yes.
May I see that? And you're buying 11 cars for $3,000. What do you think you're getting?
I thought I had bingo, actually, you know what I'm saying, right? Because they said that they was getting rid of that whole building.
So he told you the cars were working?
Yes. He like, I have 2 Land Rovers. One of them's running kind of bad. The other one's running great, and he just got the naming cars to us.
So the deal is you will sell him for $3,000 all of these cars, including some tires. Did you tell him how many tires?
There were over 150 tires. There were about four sets of rims that I told him I'm going to keep, which I put in that agreement.
Okay, and what do you say about the cars?
All the cars looked great. Saying not no cars or scrap cars, nothing like that. And it's already cars that he advertised to me.
And Your Honor, the truck he came to look at was embedded in all these scrap cars. So it's not like he missed looking at these cars. And that's why he came back to make a deal with me.
So the first day that you arrived at the location, the business location, you arrived there to respond to the Craigslist ad.
Yes.
Then you returned the second day because you're going to have this conversation now about
the
purchasing
cars.
these cars. When did you give him $3,000?
On day 2.
Okay.
You understand, right? So once I loaded up all the scrap metal and left, that's when this guy, the defendant, he disappeared.
What do you mean that day he was nowhere to be found?
He was gone. The tires and rims and everything was rearranged and put somewhere inside the building.
Coming up on Judge Faith, new evidence is revealed that puts a major dent in the testimony.
This contract isn't signed. You didn't-
Exactly. He didn't sign it, so how? It's supposed to be two people to agree.
I
He
am
didn't
not
never agree.
disputing the fact that we sold those cars to him. He's the one that bought the cars, signed for the cars, and paid us for it.
Plaintiff Antoine Carpenter says he thought he was buying 11 used vehicles, but then discovered he was caught in a scrapping scam. He's suing for the return of his money. Defendant Eric Aaron says he owes nothing because he's not responsible for Antoine's inexperience. In addition, they signed a contract that clearly states no refunds.
Okay, let me look at the video.
This is the video that's inside of the shop. And these are all the nice cars that I was shown right here.
Are these the cars, sir?
Your Honor, these are all cars that are 5,000 and over. They're not 1475 cars.
But these are still all the same cars that he showed us, that he advertised to me and my friend.
You didn't show him these cars?
No. Was he under the impression I'm selling him all these newer cars for $3,000?
I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
No.
He's saying that you showed him these cars.
No, I did not. I did not.
Why do
Okay.
I have a video of your shop?
Well, I'm glad he had a video of my shop and all the nice cars, but those were not part of the deal.
Yeah,
Did you
but
show him,
all of a
and
sudden it
you
wasn't part of
submitted
the deal.
photos, you submitted photos of cars that are outside
Outside.
an area.
These
Is
are
this in the back
scrap
of your shop?
cars.
Now, these definitely look like scrap cars. Some
Yes,
of them
they
are
are,
missing
and-
doors.
Yes.
Missing
Yes, man, but we never
parts.
agreed to no scrap cars. He never mentioned no scrap cars to me. Once we came to talk to him, arguing about, like, where's the rest of the tires and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Where he like,
What happened to the tires? He
We
said
put
he
them
came
all
back.
towards the door so he could come pick them up.
And you say what? All the tires weren't there?
a lot of tires was missing.
It's
The
not-
rims
Did
was
you
gone.
remove any tires, any rims?
It's not true, Your Honor,
From what
except
you
for the
agreed to
4
sell
sets
him.
of rims that I put on that contract. And it says it right on the
It's supposed to
contract.
be 2 sets of rims. If you look at the contract, you see that the 4 is overwritten over the number 2, as you see.
Your Honor,
Okay.
also the contract really does specifically read, these are all scrap cars.
No, it don't say it.
It does say scrap on the
Scrap
side.
cars.
Right. It says scrap on the side because that's the free scrap that he was giving me.
No, that's not true.
Along with my agreement.
That's not what it says. There's a
cars are
bracket. Who
circled.
wrote that bracket in the scrap? Who
Yeah.
wrote that?
He wrote that.
Okay. And well, hold on a second. This contract isn't signed. You didn't-
Exactly.
Yeah,
He didn't sign it, so how? It's supposed to be 2 people to agree.
I
he
am
didn't never
not
agree.
disputing the fact that we sold those cars to him. He's the one that bought the cars, signed for the cars, and paid us for it.
So you leave. You pay him $3,000. When do you first find out that he's saying I'm selling you scraps and not the cars in the video?
That was the day of the 27th when we returned back.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what is your response to that?
I was very angry. I was very pissed off because I feel played.
Does he tell you that day? Wait a minute. These are not the cars you told me you would sell me.
No, he didn't.
Yes.
So what was he upset about?
He's upset because he does not have the facility or the equipment to move all these cars.
Why does he call the police? That doesn't.
Because
why
he
is calling the
wanted his
police?
money back. He wanted to renege the entire deal and wanted his money back. And I says, there's no such thing because our contract says no refunds. When he paid me, it said no refunds.
Is there a copy of the police report, please?
Yes.
Why didn't you sign this contract? Why did you
I
not?
forgot to sign it, but I am the one that wrote the contract.
Doesn't matter. This entire agreement is in your handwriting, and you mean to tell me the most important thing you were supposed to do, put your signature on it, you forgot?
I'm not disputing.
That's a problem. Because what I have here is a contract that's not fully executed.
Your Honor, I'm not disputing the fact that I didn't sell him the cars.
When do you say he wrote no refunds on here?
When he made the copies.
Your Honor,
After you signed it?
Yes, after I signed.
Your Honor, that's
Once he
not
got my
true.
money, he
Right
gave me
there.
the second
I
copy.
have the police report. Is Danny Hubbard still working for you?
No.
Okay.
no.
When did he leave
He was a
your place of
part-time guy.
employment?
He went to work for Jiffy Lube now.
Did he leave on good terms?
Yeah.
And when did he leave?
3 weeks after this deal was over.
Okay. I understand that your former employee, Danny, is available to speak with me by phone. I want to talk to him about his conversations with the plaintiff when he showed up at your shop that day. We're in recess.
Coming up, a story is scrapped.
As soon as they left, Eric told me to take at least 25 of the tires and hide them in my office because he didn't want to give them to them.
Plaintiff Antoine Carpenter says he was scammed. He's suing for the return of his money. Defendant Eric Aaron says their contract clearly states no refunds. He's countersuing for storage fees and labor. We rejoin Judge Faith in her chambers to hear witness testimony by the phone.
Hi, is this Daniel Herbert?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is Judge Faith. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm calling you about a case. It's Antoine Carpenter versus one of your former bosses, actually, Eric Aaron.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you used to work for Mr. Aaron at his body shop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you remember Mr. Antoine Carpenter in the day he came into the shop?
Yes, ma'am. He came in to actually look at a pickup truck. So Eric called me on the phone and said, hey, there's a gentleman coming to look at a truck. So I took him into the back when he got there. I couldn't find the keys to the truck. So along with conversating, he told me that he does scrap metal. And I was like, well, I have a whole big, huge thing over here of scrap metal that needs to go.
Okay, and what happened the next day? Were you aware that they entered into an agreement where the plaintiff would purchase tires, rims, and several cars from your former boss?
Yes, ma'am. They came in, they got the first load of all the scrap metal. And as soon as they left, Eric told me to take at least 25 of the tires and hide them in my office because he didn't want to give them to them. And I told him, if you told them that you're going to give them these tires, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
What about the cars? Were you there when the police were called?
Yes, I was. Eric was a very disrespectful person. Some of those stuff that he said was not professional at all.
What do you mean? About Mr. Carpenter?
Yes, pardon my language. I'm going to repeat it as exactly how he said it. I will do anything to rip off the N-word because I don't trust him. Those were his exact words. When Antoine and his cousin and his wife or whatever got there, they were upset.
And
I tried to calm them down and just told them, look, if he's going to rip you off this way, don't get upset. Don't try to rough him up, nothing like that. Do it the legal way.
do you know if Eric, the defendant, told Mr. Carpenter and showed him cars that he would be purchasing, and if when Mr. Carpenter showed back up, he showed him different cars?
The cars that he was supposedly going to buy were in the back of the shop, like outside, but he never took him out back. He just said, I'm going to sell you 7 cars. Well, on one side of the wall, we had 6 or 7 cars that were in good shape. So if somebody would have said that to me, I would have been under the assumption, okay, these are the cars. Well, then all of a sudden the next day, it was the cars that have no engines in them, no tires. I mean, there would have been no point to buy those cars.
Do you know if your boss, your former boss, Eric Aaron, has had any previous complaints against him for fraud or anything like that?
Yes, ma'am. The last time the cops were there, he said, young man, my advice to you, off the record, I would find a different job because we have been out here for at least 100 times for the same thing with Eric.
Did Mr. Aaron ever tell you to tell Mr. Carpenter he wasn't there when he really was at the shop?
Yes, ma'am. He's done that to multiple people.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Herbert. Thank you so much for your time and testimony today. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You have a very blessed day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
All rise. Court is back in session. Please be seated.
So, you told Danny to hide the tires?
I told Danny to move the tires that we were going to move.
Yeah, you told him to hide the tires, and he did in his office.
No, there is an office filled with tires.
You told
Your
Danny
Honor.
to hide the tires, and that's
No,
what he
I
did.
never said that
Let
to
me tell
him.
you something. I believe everything he told me. I don't believe anything you said in court today.
I do
think
not-
you came in court
I-
and you perjured yourself.
He
And you know what I did? I was curious about the number of times. I was curious about the number of times Danny said the police had been out to your establishment. Danny, who you just testified left your employment in good terms. He doesn't know him. Never
Yes,
met
he
him before a
does.
day in his life until he showed up to your shop. He has no dog in this fight. He has no reason to lie.
he's the only one
So
that...
I decided to pull your criminal record because I figured you probably have one since the police have been out to your establishment a number of times. So why don't you tell me, sir, why you've been accused of fraud before? What happened in 2013 with the restaurant that you sold? You were arrested and charged criminally. What were you charged with?
It's a long story, Your Honor.
Listen, I have time. What were you charged with, sir, in
Your Honor.
2013?
I sold him a restaurant. and
The police investigated, they arrested you. Is that a pending case?
They sure did not investigate it with me
Were you arrested, sir?
back in 2013
What were you charged with?
with the restaurant,
With what? Fraud. Am I correct?
with false representation.
Because this person actually came back and demanded a refund because you falsely represented the sale of the restaurant to them, just like you falsely represented the sale of the cars to him. This is a pattern. This is what you do. It's pretty despicable. Well, I certainly understand why writing no refunds was so important to you on your contract. So important that you wrote that instead of your name. What is your counterclaim about?
For the storage fees of all these cars we're sitting on.
Right, were the cars that you tried to trick him into buying, that he refused to buy.
Your Honor, he was in the midst of all those cars.
We're done, sir. We're done, Mr. Aaron.
And this phone call was pretty much a set-up phone call. I don't even have this guy's phone number, but Antoine
Doesn't matter.
does.
It doesn't matter. Don't worry about how I got his phone, his number. The fact is, he testified and he told the truth. And by the way, good for him, because a lot of people don't want to get involved in cases. And this would have been a he said versus you said. But your employee, who left on good terms, told the truth when he testified here today. You lied, you cheated him, and you stole from him. And I'm going to tell you what my grandmother used to tell me: God don't like ugly. Judgment in this case for the plaintiff, $3,050. Pay him the money back.
I didn't even think Danny ever answered his phone, but for once today, he answered his phone.
The ruling, it was kind of tough because it was basically my word against his, but luckily that his employee was a fair person to admit the truth.
Plaintiff Vicky Porter says her former hookup and roommate is a con artist who promised to pay her back when she bailed him out of jail. She's suing for a personal loan. Defendant Jeff Freeman says the money was a favor, not a loan, and he never promised to pay her back.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Porter versus Freeman.
Thank you, Juan. Vicky Porter?
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing the defendant, Jeff Freeman,
Yes, Your Honor.
for $4,664 you say he owes you for personal loans?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning, Ms. Porter? Tell me what's going on here.
Okay, well, we originally met in July of 2012. We played volleyball. I had a house that had volleyball courts, and I had a tournament that day and had a mutual friend of ours invited him over to play in the tournament. It was September when we met again at another volleyball tournament, another mutual friend, and we hung out that day, started hanging out, started talking about Well, I needed a place to stay. The house I was living in was getting foreclosed on, and so I needed to find a new place to stay.
You did? You needed a place to stay? Okay.
Yeah, I was renting a place, and they were foreclosing on it, so I needed a place to stay. He needed a roommate, and so we talked about going and getting a place together. We went to look at a place, and then he came up missing. And didn't know why he came up missing from previous relationship.
What do you mean he came up missing?
Well, we went to go look at the place, and then I kept messaging him because I didn't really like the apartment we were looking at, and I found a couple other places I want to look at, and I couldn't find him.
Where were you?
I was in jail at the time, Your Honor.
Oh, you were in jail?
Yes.
For what?
I was arrested for a DUI at the time. It was for, I had pain pills in my car. I had recently had leg surgery or knee surgery after returning home from Afghanistan, and I had pain pills in my car. When the police officer pulled me over at 3 o'clock in the morning, he automatically put the assumption the pain pills and me driving together and arrested me for DUI. The case
So what
was
happened to
later
the
dropped.
case?
It was dropped, Your Honor.
Okay, and so you don't have any DUI convictions?
I do, just not that particular one, yes.
Okay.
Drinking and driving is not funny at all, but
How
yeah.
many DUI convictions do you have?
I have one conviction, Your Honor.
Then how did you come to find out that he was in jail?
I had a previous fiance that would come up missing, and so I just pulled up on mugshots and found that he had been arrested.
You just started looking online
Yeah,
at
because
mugshots?
I mean, like he was just missing for like a week, and I was like, well, I hope he's okay, you know. And one of my friends was just like, why don't you look on mugshots? Maybe he got arrested, and I looked it up.
Because those
found him.
mugshots are public records,
Yeah,
and you can't
yeah,
look them up.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yes,
then
sir.
you see his mugshot, and what do you do next?
So then I actually went to see him to see what was going on. I was going to see if he needed bond or anything like that. I was trying to help him out. He gave me some sob stories about.
And this was what month?
This was in September.
So you met him in July. 2 months later, you're going to visit him to see if he needs bond.
Well,
when
just to
he's been
see what
arrested.
was going on, you know,
Okay.
because we had planned on. I was on a time limit as far as needing to get out of the house because
Right.
they were foreclosing on the house, and I was needing to find a place like ASAP.
And obviously, he can't be your roommate if he's in jail.
Correct. We so I went to talk to him to see what was going on and to see, you know, are you getting out? You know, what's going on? And so he told me that he had had previous arrests, which I didn't know, and that he couldn't be bonded out because there was
I could be bonded out. I just wasn't going to bond out because I knew the case was going to get dropped, and it was a $4,600 bail.
And so you went down there, and what was the conversation you had with him?
I was just seeing what was going on. I was like, hey, do you still want to be roommates? I mean, what's going on? Do you need help? Do you need me to call your family, you know, to see if you can get out? And so he gave me this sob story that his family wouldn't help him out, and then he kept...
And so what was going on with your bail?
The thing is that it was a $4,600 bail to get out, or $4,700 or something along those lines. And instead of paying the $4,600 that I didn't have anyway, they gave me the option that I would have to sit in jail until I went to court, knowing that the case was going to get dismissed anyway because I wasn't under the influence of any drugs or any alcohol at the time.
You assumed that it would get dismissed. You
Correct,
hoped that it
assumptions,
would get dismissed.
yes. You know, I didn't call her, I didn't ask her to come by. She came, you know, down to the jail visitation, saw me. You know, at that point, I'd already had it in my head that I was going to just go to court, you know, fight the case and let that be that.
Did you say, hey, well, if you pay this for me, I'll pay you back?
No, it wasn't I'll pay you the $5,000 that you are about to loan me out.
Coming up, Judge Faith decodes the mixed messages.
I've been in that situation too where I don't have a friend in the world, and then somebody comes out of the blue and helps me out.
Plaintiff Vicky Porter says her ex-lover begged her to bail him out of jail, but now refuses to pay her back. She's suing for a personal loan. Defendant Jeff Freeman says Vicky wanted him out of jail so they could share a romantic weekend together, but he never promised to pay her back.
When do you find out that you're being bailed out? What does she say in response to that?
Honestly, it was just another day, and then next thing you know, it's pack your stuff. You know, you're bailed out, and I'm like,
How many
did that
days
happen?
between when you had that when she came to visit you?
A week.
A week. So what happens in that week time period when you go visit him?
I started looking at different credit cards. I started trying to get a loan for him. He gave me his social security number and some other information, his bank information, to try to get a loan for him. So I was looking online, trying to find other places.
Why?
I have a big heart, which probably gets me in a lot of trouble.
No. If you have a big heart, you tell him, I'm sorry you're in jail. I will pray for your safety.
But
I will put some money on your account. But you're going to go get a loan?
But I've been in that situation too. I've been in that situation too where I don't have a friend in the world, and then somebody comes out of the blue and helps me out.
there was a false portrayal of a relationship leading up after the bailout.
Something had to be going on here.
We had multiple encounters after the fact, after the money fact, you know, when we did live together, of jealousy issues with her and, you know.
Whatever.
So wait, back up for a second. Tell me about how you went about getting this money.
His credit was so bad that I, couldn't find a loan or anything for him. So I found a credit card, and it was a zero interest credit. And I told him, I said, look, I found this zero interest credit card. If you can pay me off in the amount of time before I have to start paying interest, then I'll come and get you out.
You open a credit card and go charge $4,600 to get him out of jail for
and
a
the thing
DUI.
that y'all don't see right now, just very charming. Very charming guy. He's fun to hang out with. He's a nice guy when it comes to stuff like that.
I have plenty of charming and nice friends, and if they get arrested for a DUI, you're going to sit there for a week and you're going to do your time.
Well, and I didn't know about his previous arrest. See, like this charge was not, he's telling you incorrectly. This charge was not, he got arrested in Fulton County, and then they took him to Henry County because he had 2 warrants out for his arrest.
For another DUI?
Yes. But it got dropped down to a reckless driving. I have 1 DUI on my record.
Right, but how many times have you been arrested for DUIs?
8, Your Honor.
You know, I was a prosecutor in New York, and I prosecuted these cases, DUIs, and I know for a fact by the time someone is stopped for driving under the influence, that's just when they've been caught. Because the more you do it, the more comfortable you have become driving while under the influence. And you think, oh, I might not get caught because last night I went home and it didn't happen.
That's absolutely correct, Your Honor.
So let's just be thankful that it hasn't ended, I assume, in tragedy yet, for you or someone else on the road.
Yes, ma'am.
You open up a credit card, you charge it, he gets out on bail, what happens next?
He promised to pay me back, and then we went on a volleyball trip that day. I was leaving to go on a volleyball trip that day, and he didn't have anything else to do, and I said, well, why don't you go with me?
How did the two of you end up living together?
We didn't move in at that point in time, because when we got back from the trip, he went and moved in with his ex-girlfriend, and then he started texting me and complaining and saying that they were fighting and all this other stuff, and he didn't want to be there. Well, I had found another place that I could afford on my own in Atlanta, and so I was moving to that place, and I was like, well, it'd be nice to have somebody live with me and kind of take some of this money, and then 2, if I had him under the same roof,
we would sleep
maybe
together.
No.
Was that what
he would
happened?
pay me back.
Is that what happened?
Essentially, that's
No, we
kind of
never
what it
slept
Sir,
together.
is that what
when he was-
happened?
No, after she bonded me out, I never slept with her again.
Be honest about what's going on here. You liked him.
In the beginning, yes. At that point in time that we were living together, no.
Well, it makes sense because why else would you open up a credit card and go spend $4,600 on someone? Do you do that in all your relationships?
No. I mean, my ex-fiance, I loaned him money, but we were engaged.
Coming up on Judge Faith, evidence is revealed that puts this casual affair into context.
The contractor wouldn't answer his phone calls because he got him fired from the job because he ran his mouth like he always does, and he was going at lunch and drinking at lunch and then going back and running his mouth.
Drinking at lunch?
Yes, you were.
Through mutual friends, I had heard that Vicky received money from the contractor, yes.
I'm just trying to figure out how many levels of hearsay we have in this statement.
Plaintiff Vicky Porter says they were more than friends with benefits. She's suing for a personal loan. Defendant Jeff Freeman says Vicky was just a fun fling, and he never promised to pay the money back.
So how long do the two of you live together and what happens?
Well, he didn't move in until like December of 2012, and he moved out in January of 2012 and left all his stuff there, went and moved in with another girl somewhere.
And it's now almost 3 years later, and we're here.
Yeah,
How did we get here?
And I still haven't gotten any payments or anything from him. He's even gone so far to call me and said, oh yeah, I'm sending you some money, I'm mailing you a certified check. Okay, and then I wait a week, still didn't get it, called him and said.
Did you do that?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay, what discussions have you had in this time period about paying her back? Or did you, since you said you kind of agreed to it?
In November, or the end of October, she ended up getting me a job with a friend of hers at a staircasing company.
Of 2012, after you got out?
Yes.
Okay.
This is after I got out. So at the end of October, I start working for this guy, and everything was going good for a couple of weeks. And like she said, in December, I started moving in with her. Well, our mutual friend that she got me the job with, his fiance ended up, her mom passed away. It was a big ordeal. He wasn't even able to finish the job that we were on. I'm trying to finish his job for him, and it ended up that he owed me like $2,600. this big ordeal happened where he couldn't pay me right after that. You know, in January when it happened with the jealousy thing, I went ahead and moved out.
So what do you tell her about that money? What'd you tell her?
If I could get the contractor to pay me, that I would give her some of the money.
But what he's neglecting to tell you, Honor, is
well,
that...
hold on a second. But you're asking her to get the contractor to pay you?
Because he wouldn't answer my phone calls. She's the one who got me the job with the contractor.
And what he's forgetting to tell you is that the contractor wouldn't answer his phone calls because he got him fired from the job because he ran his mouth like he always does, and he was going at lunch and drinking at lunch and then going back and running his mouth.
Drinking at lunch?
Yes, you were.
Why did the contractor get fired?
Because he didn't finish the job, Your
No,
Honor.
because Jeff was there running his mouth and talking smack and doing all this other stuff, and then so my friend got fired from the job. And when you, as a contractor, when you get fired from the job, you won't get
And did you know about that?
Livid.
Not at all, Your Honor. He got fired because he didn't show up for a week at the job because he was dealing with his fiance, girlfriend's, whatever, you know, mother's death.
For whatever reason, he's fired, and you're saying he owed you $2,600, and you told her, try to collect this money.
This was a month after that, because I first tried to collect it myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I contacted him multiple times on the phone. He eventually just ignored me completely. Knowing that they're mutual friends, and his girlfriend at the time is really good friends with Vicky, I asked her, I was like, hey, look, if you can get with the contractor and get some of this money, you know, I'll give you some of it towards the money.
But why does she have to operate as your collection agent?
She doesn't, Your Honor.
And try to collect money that someone owes you so she can get paid back. Why is that her responsibility?
No, she doesn't at all.
If if you're trying to pay her back.
Correct.
Okay, so what happens next?
I have a witness statement. I moved in with a good friend of mine after I left that apartment. And so I had her write up a witness statement from conversations that she overheard with me and the contractor through either...
What's the point? Are you saying that this contractor gave her money?
Through mutual friends, I had heard that Vicky received money from the contractor, yes.
Mutual friends told you they heard that she... I'm just trying to figure out how many levels of hearsay we have in this statement.
Well, I mean, I couldn't bring it here
Let me see
with
the statement you say you brought with you. I'm sure this is going to be fabulous evidence. So we have a handwritten note, a copy of a handwritten note. Where's the original?
It's still in my home in Atlanta, Your Honor.
You don't think the original would be your best evidence, sir?
It definitely would have.
Okay, so we have a copy of a handwritten note. Her testimony is that this contractor gave her $2,600 as part of this debt?
The amount was never confirmed. We just knew through
this contractor
mutual
gave her
friends.
some money?
Correct.
And that was supposed to be to help pay off your debt to her?
Correct. Once she realized that there was going to be no relationship, that's whenever the, you know, resentment for the money came about.
Ms. Porter, did this contractor actually give you money?
No, he did not.
Did he ever contact you about paying you on behalf of him?
Well, he had mentioned it, but then he said that because he got fired from the job, he didn't get paid at all. And he said he couldn't even pay Jeff any money because he didn't get paid at all.
So let me tell you the issues with your evidence here. This copy of this handwritten note from this Ashley person who you didn't bring to court with you today. Because, you know, I don't know who wrote this. You could have wrote this out in the hallway before you came and photocopied it. I don't know. But your issues are, Ashley is basically writing down all the things you told her. She doesn't have any firsthand information. She's saying she had conversations with you, and this is basically the gist of the conversations I had with Jeff. This is probably the worst piece of hearsay evidence I've ever received in court, now that I'm looking at this. In the spring of 2013, I heard a few mutual friends, Amy and Casey, I heard that they heard that this contractor paid Vicky some money.
You can't make that up.
I mean, this is the most unreliable piece of evidence I've ever received in court. From the female standpoint, I believe Vicky was wanting a relationship with Jeff, and when she realized she wasn't going to get one, she began demanding repayment. Juan, give this back to him, please.
Judge Faith, I wanted payment from the second I bailed him out. I have a promissory note that is notarized with Jeff's signature saying that he would pay me back, that he signed the day that I bailed him out of jail.
Oh, you signed a promissory note, sir?
What day did I sign that?
Sir,
The day that you got bailed out of jail.
I'm asking you a question. Did you sign a promissory note?
I'd have to look at that, Your Honor, to be honest with you.
You wouldn't remember signing a promissory note for $4,600?
Like I said, we went straight to the beach that day.
You signed it before we got in the car. Because I told you
Is there a date on it, Your Honor?
I wouldn't bail you out
and it's
without
notarized, and it's the original.
It's notarized with my signature on it?
You tell me, is that your signature?
So we got
You don't sound very convincing right now.
That is my signature.
You have no memory of signing this document.
Like I said, she picked me up, we went to the beach.
We went to my house first because I told you I would not bail you out unless you signed that promissory note.
Now, this is what you call good evidence. Original, signed,
And notarized.
document, both parties, signatures on the document, both parties in front of me admit that they both signed the document.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
You're really lucky you had a promissory note. He's not the most credible person in the world, but it would have been your word against his. And based on everything you told me you did for him out of the goodness of your heart, I obviously think there was more to it than that. I think you liked him, and I think you were hopeful that there would be a relationship. And there wasn't. But the one thing you did do right, you got a signed document, you got a signature. Judgment for the plaintiff in this case, $4,663.60. Pay her the money.
Plaintiff Donnie Hurst is suing his daughter's best friend for repayment of money he gave her. Defendant Brandy Collins admits she received money from the plaintiff, but says he knew she needed the money and it was a gift.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this is Hurst versus Collins.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Mr. Donnie Hurst?
Yes.
You are suing the defendant, Brandy Collins, for $160 for a loan you say she failed to repay you.
That's correct.
And Ms. Collins, you are countersuing for $1,000 for defamation of character?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Why don't we start with you, sir? Tell me what's going on.
Well, Your Honor, back about a year ago, May 2013, I met Brandon through my daughter, who's 25, and they associate with each other real well.
How old are you, Brandy?
I'm 26.
Okay. And how
My
old are you,
daughter's
sir?
25.
Okay.
And
how old are you?
I'm 58.
All right.
And they're real good friends, and my daughter gets pretty much anything she wants from me, and her and Brandon was a real good friend. And that's how I come to meet Brandon. So Brandon, I guess, needed money on several occasions, and her and I became very good friends. And she's a sweet girl, she's a beautiful girl, and I'm an older guy, I'm single, I'm not married, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't date women. What I do is associate with them favors. And if you want me to be specific, I can do that as well.
No, I don't know what you're talking about when you say favors.
Well, we had sexual favors. And it's strictly business, strictly business.
Excuse me, let's get some order, please.
And it was strictly business. So Brandon knows that I do not lend women's money. I don't do women's favor unless they do me favor. That's understood with all of my ladies' friends. So they know this up front. And I have evidence to prove that from the year or so that her and I have been friends.
Okay, so you're saying that the two of you had a sexual relationship.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, what is the loan? I don't understand how that relates to $160.
This particular loan, her and I have had a relationship over a year ago. So we've been involved down through the months leading up to this last loan. I've lent her money from time. I never loaned because she always paid in favors. So she gave me, I gave her. I never gave her any money up front. I always, whenever she came to me, she took care of me, I paid her.
Okay, so now that I have a clearer understanding.
Well, I hope you really do have a clear understanding
I have
you
a clear
seem to be a
understanding,
little.
sir. No, I have a clear understanding, and I'm not a little anything.
Okay.
What you're telling me is you were paying the defendant in exchange for sex.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me tell you something, because
Please
I
do.
understand exactly what's going on. And you're from what state?
State of Georgia, Peach State
All right.
of Georgia.
Okay, so I don't care what you call it. You can call it favors. You can call it a business transaction, sir.
Your
In
Honor,
that
it
state,
was a
excuse me, I'm
business
talking.
transaction.
I'm
It wasn't
speaking.
favor, it was
I am
business.
speaking. You can call it whatever you want to call it. In your state, it is called prostitution.
Well,
and it
then
is
that might
illegal.
be it.
And it
That
is
might be
illegal.
it.
Okay. What's going on, ma'am?
I was stranded in Florida. We have been friends for a while, maybe about 2 years now. I was stranded in Florida. We had prior conversations about the transaction for sexual favors or whatever. We haven't had any sexual relations for about a year and a half now. It's been a while.
That's not true.
So when he asked me, he texted me and asked me, okay, can we hook up? I lost complete contact with him. He'd seen me.
Why would you agree to do something like this in the very beginning? I mean,
Your Honor.
you're obviously. I'm speaking, sir. Do not speak right now.
I'm a single parent. I'm in college. It's hard. And
I was in college. I was broke. I had no money. I get it. But
we all do different
money,
things.
there's not enough money in the universe for this man to be able to pay me to have sex with him. You understand?
Well, I don't know.
That's understood, but that's you and I'm me. We're two totally different people. Things happen in our lives where we do stuff. It's just like a marriage. If you're married to someone, the wife, she gives him sex and he pays all the bills. It's no different.
This is totally different. This is totally different because in your state, it is actually illegal and a crime. And you guys can come in here and try to paint this in a different picture and describe it in whatever way you want to.
I was never on the corner.
This is not painting anything. It is what
yes,
it is.
it is, sir.
Your Honor,
yes,
people come to reason for many different reasons. Right now, you might be lonely, want to be with me, but you ain't woman enough to say it.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, sir.
Things.
Let me tell you something. Everyone does things in their private lives. Everyone has skeletons in their closet. But you're bringing this to my courtroom today, and I'm going to address it. If you don't want to hear the truth, then don't come in my courtroom.
The truth doesn't bother me. I don't
truth.
have a wife. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not dating anybody. So what is that to make me feel bad about? Nothing.
Because
I do what I do, and they come to me for what they need.
That's
so
fine.
I give them what they need. They give me what I need, and we're done. She go her way, I go
and you know
my
what?
way.
And guess
we
what?
don't come together.
Your case, it is prostitution. If you came into this courtroom and told me that you sold drugs to the defendant, I sold heroin to the defendant, she didn't pay me back. And I'm suing right now because she owes me money for the heroin. Guess what? I'm not going to hear that case because you are bringing an illegal
You know why
act
we're
into...
here, Your Honor?
Do not
we are
interrupt
here
me.
because she
Do
did
not interrupt me,
pay,
sir.
and we didn't have sex on this.
Sir, and what I'm telling you is you entered into an illegal agreement that no court in America will enforce because it is prostitution. Do you understand? Do you understand me?
Coming up, Judge Faith tells it like it is.
What if you meet someone like him who's willing to pay you and they don't get what they want? They may not end up taking you to court. They may end up taking you to a back alley. What are you going to do then? You have a child you have to think about and consider.
And later, who let the dogs in?
Whose dog bit my dog then?
Her dog, we don't know. It happened in a situation.
But it was one of your dogs.
No, you can't say that. Were you there to see it?
Are you saying that perhaps it was her other dog that
It very
bit?
well could have been.
Plaintiff Donnie Hurst is suing his daughter's best friend for repayment of money he gave her. Defendant Brandy Collins admits she received money from the plaintiff, but says he knew she needed the money and it was a gift.
Life is about choices, and everyone makes choices in their lives. There are some things you can't choose. You can't choose when you're born, where you're born, who you are born to, but
Correct.
you can choose how you live.
Correct.
All I'm saying
Which
to
is
you,
why
all
I
I'm saying to you,
didn't
ma'am,
engage.
all I am saying to you, ma'am, is you are young, you're in college. Don't make choices. You're making choices for today. I want you to think about tomorrow. Because what if you meet someone like him who's willing to pay you and they don't get what they want? They may not end up taking you to court. They may end up taking you to a back alley. What are you going to do then? You have a child you have to think about and consider, okay? Your counterclaim is dismissed. Your case is dismissed, and if I were you, I would be embarrassed to even bring a lawsuit like
Your
this,
Honor,
sir.
I'm not.
Absolutely
Because
embarrassed.
She did not
Dismissed.
perform
Go
what
home.
she agreed to do.
Plaintiff Autumn Newberry is suing her neighbor for vet bills and trauma. Her dog was attacked by his. Defendant Brent Ward says the plaintiff can't prove that it was his dog who did the damage.
Okay, Autumn Newberry, you are suing the defendant Brent Ward for $500 for vet bill and psychological damage to your dog. And Mr. Ward, you are countersuing for $1,000 for misuse of the common area, unauthorized use of storage, garbage removal, and lost wages.
Correct.
Why don't you start, Ms. Newberry, and tell me what happened here?
Okay, so basically his dog attacked mine, and ever since then he's been extremely rude to me. He harasses me, he bullies me when my fiance is not home, when I'm alone. He refused to pay the vet bill, and he never apologized, and I care about my dog, so.
Are you a bully, sir?
I'm not a bully.
What kind of place do you live in, and how is he your neighbor?
Well, it's kind of weird. His house can be seen from the street, and then on the side there's a driveway, and then there's a door to a common backyard that we share, and then my house is behind there.
Let's look at the yard. Okay.
Okay, so that white door, that's
On
the
the
only
left?
way to enter into my house, yes, on the
Okay.
left. That sliding glass door is Brent's back sliding glass door, so that yard right there is the shared yard.
You have dogs as well, right?
I do.
How many dogs do you have?
At the time, I had 2. I now have 3.
And how many did you have at that
Two
time?
as well.
Okay, so prior to the dog incident, what was the relationship like between the two of you sharing the yard?
It was fine. I've never had a problem with it.
It didn't exist. Everybody gets along with her fiance, essentially until Autumn gets home. And then he shuts down. She's never come out of her shell. I don't even honestly remember an introduction.
Okay,
That's
but you
not
were friendly
true.
with her fiance.
Yeah.
How long did you live in the house before the date of this incident with the dogs?
It was almost 3 months.
So for 3 months, the dogs would see each other and play together and there was no issue?
For 3 months, we both leave our doors open.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have a dachshund and a boxer.
And what about you?
I have a pit bull and I really don't know. I think she's an Australian Shepherd pit bull.
What date did the incident happen where you say your dog was injured?
That was on April 29th.
And what happened that day?
I was at work, so my fiance was home. It was the same situation where both of our doors were open, and our dogs were in Brent's house, actually.
How did they get over there?
His door was open. They let them in.
So I want you to take me through that very clearly, though. Your dogs were in the backyard, and the backsliding door to your house was open that
Yeah,
day?
all the doors were open again. So their front door was open, my back door was open. The dogs were in and out of my house, their house, and the yard.
So they sort of roam freely
Yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
between the houses, and that's happened on occasion?
It had gone on for almost 3 months at that point.
Okay, so what happens next?
So my fiance heard my dog screaming. He said he's never heard him make that sound before, so obviously he ran over.
To the defendant's house?
Correct. And then my dog, Phineas, he ran outside. He wouldn't let anyone touch him.
Where's your fiance today?
He's at work.
So I'll hear the hearsay, go ahead.
So he ran out to see what was wrong with him. My dog wouldn't let anyone touch him. And then finally, when my fiance was able to get close enough to him, he saw that there was a gash on the top of his head and then at his neck, kind of like, like his head was inside of the larger dog's mouth.
Did you see what happened with the dogs?
No, no one did. I mean, really,
Were there
nobody.
any injuries to your dogs?
No.
Okay. Do you have photos of the injuries?
I do.
May I see them?
Yes.
So you take the dog and...
No, I couldn't. I
That's
was
after
working
the
at the
vet.
time.
Okay.
My wife loaded her fiance and the dog into our
Into
vehicle.
the vet?
This was
to
not
take the dog to the
voluntary.
vet.
My fiance had to beg them while Brent sat
That-
on his phone and completely ignored
That is
him.
100% not true. I was working on a conference call. My wife is a homemaker. She was available to do it. I wasn't. My wife loaded them in the car to take them to the vet. En route to the vet, Autumn finally responded to her fiance's texts and calls. When she responded on the phone, my fiance's driving them to the vet. She goes into a jealous fit of rage, screaming at on the phone, "Why on earth would you be in a car with her? You have no business being in a car with that woman." We were taking the dog to the vet. She had us turn around and take the dog to a tanning salon.
I worked at a tanning salon. I wanted to see my dog before he went to the vet because the way my fiance was describing it was
But did you yell
really
at him
bad.
for being in the car with the
I
defendant's
yelled
wife?
at him for not calling me. I didn't know that he called me. I wasn't allowed to have my phone at
So
work.
it wasn't about the defendant's wife. It was
No,
just about
I
the
know her,
dog.
and
Okay.
I have no problem with that. But I did want to see my dog before he went, so he came and picked up the car and then drove to the vet.
Okay, let's see the photo of the injuries.
That's after the vet.
Okay,
so
what,
after
did he
cleaned it
get
up.
stitches, or what was the
No,
treatment
they
at the
just
vet?
gave him a sedative. They just cleaned it up. They
Was he
gave
okay
him,
after this? Did
he honestly, like, physically he was okay, but he's not the same. He scares really easily. He's never been like that. He hides under their table sometimes when he hears like a loud noise.
Right, it was a
he's never-
traumatic experience.
Right.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the trauma goes well beyond the dog's injuries.
There's so much anxiety for me to even like be in the same room as him right now because he's yelled at me, he threw my stuff at me, he brought in another woman who I don't even know, and she was physically touching my things and throwing them at me.
Plaintiff Autumn Newberry is suing her neighbor for vet bills after claiming his dog attacked her dachshund. Defendant Brent Ward says he offered to split the bill, but they never spoke another word.
So you take the dog to the vet, he's treated, and what's the conversation between the two of you? I understand that you agreed to pay a portion of the vet bill, but you didn't, so what happened?
There was no conversation, there was no
That's not true.
apology, there was
That's not true at all.
nothing actually at all. We walked right past his house, he was still on his phone.
And what's your version of this? Your
So
dog.
on-
so you
on
know
multiple
that
occasions I've
you do
offered-
agree that your
That is
dog
not true.
bit her dog,
Absolutely.
right? Okay.
No, absolutely not. Excuse me. I was agreeing that I offered to pay.
Whose dog bit my dog then?
Bit her dog? We don't know. It happened in a
But it was
situation.
one of your dogs.
No, you can't say that. Were you there to see it?
Are you saying that perhaps it was her other dog that
It very well could have been. And since then, since the dog has now apparently suffered psychological damages, she's gone and gotten a special needs pit bull since then that's deaf that she screams at. Of course the dog's gonna go hide.
Did you go get
What
a third?
are you
got
talking
another
about?
dog, a third dog?
We did get a third dog.
The two of you, were you getting along after this? What happened to the relationship?
He's
relationship
a
fell apart.
bully. There's so much anxiety for me to even like be in the same room as him right now because he's yelled at me, he threw my stuff at me, he brought in another woman who I don't even know, and she was physically touching my things and throwing them at me.
What is that about?
That was me removing her things from my storage unit. If we're able to bring up the first picture that Autumn had of the yard.
Sure. Oh, this is
there's
about
a-
your counterclaim.
Yeah, on the far right of that picture, there's a cellar.
Which belongs
That
to
cellar
no
is
one.
my private yard, my private storage space. When they moved in, without asking, without saying anything to me, they loaded their stuff into my storage.
The owner said we could. He said it was
The
a
owner
shared
did not
storage.
say that she could.
Is that your misuse of the common area?
No, that's the unauthorized use of my storage. The misuse of the common area, I haven't been able to use the backyard, the common area of the backyard, since she got the third dog. They also have a private yard.
So do
What
you.
about the garbage removal?
You have a private yard as well.
They never once removed their garbage cans to the street, not once.
Why is she liable to you for damages
Because
they
I
didn't
was
take their
forced
garbage
to
out?
remove her garbage.
Who forced you? Really, what would
I'd
have
rather
happened?
not
My
have a-
garbage would not have been taken out.
I
Nothing
can show
would
you.
have happened.
I can show you a
That's
couple
on-
of photos, Your Honor, if you'd like, of literally garbage that is piled out of their garbage cans because I quit
How does
taking it
that
out.
affect
Okay.
you?
Let's get back to the issue with the dog. At some point,
Yep.
you agreed to pay for a
On the
portion
night
of the vet bill.
on the night of the incident, her fiance mentioned that the bill for the vet was about $306 or something like that. I offered to pay half that vet bill.
No, you
And
did
so-
not.
Immediately, I offered
Did
to
you
pay
pay
half that
half?
bill.
Why would
No,
I
I didn't.
sue you?
He said, "Sure, we'll talk about it."
That never happened.
And you never-
Communication stopped.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
Your dogs were in his home, and you told me that for 3 months you guys lived in this property. It was common for your dogs and his dogs to be back and forth into each other's homes, and you knew, your fiance knew, that the dogs were over there. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to dismiss your claim against the defendant. He's not obligated legally to pay for the vet bill. In terms of your counterclaim, sir, it seems that a lot of these issues came up after the relationship broke down between the two of you as a result of this dog bite. You don't own this property, so you don't have standing to sue. So on your counterclaim 0, I understand you're moving?
Yes.
When?
At the end of this month, the 31st.
Okay, that's a great decision. I think you should move, and you guys should not have shared yards. And don't share yards. That's what you take away from this case. No shared yards. Have a good day.